My name is Mariam. I'm from the University of Vienna and from Florida. I'm really going back and forth. I did my research especially on the European background, so I will refer on that. What I draw, what I like or try to do is present you with some ideas from my book, which has was recently published. I have it here and it's over there. Can you go to the second slide so you can see it? It's Motherhood and Patriarchy, and I started my studies on motherhood when it was not at all en vogue. It was 20 years ago, and I'm coming from political science, and everybody said, motherhood, political science. But I found my mother, I would say doctoral mother, who was very helpful to see this motherhood and politics together. Okay. So, yeah, we have current debates all over the place in politics each day. Especially now I'm living in the United States and I see abortion is a subject which you can see each day, what is going on in Texas and other states. We're a little bit like throwing back into the 70s because these were the fights, women's own their womb. Or also when you say that the personal is political, this is also one of the slogans from the beginning of the second feminist movement, and we're like drawing back because these subjects are arising again and again. On the background of Europe, we have this birth decline problem. So what demographers are talking all the time about, and we have a good, let's say, welfare system. It's all on the background of that Europe has declining birth rate, especially as we have mentioned in Italy. Italy is now around 1 child per woman, and Eastern Europe, especially the highest rate, are still in England and France. Sweden, German-speaking countries are around 1.3. So when they introduce a lot of paternal and family policy measures, it is to understand on the background of the birth decline in Europe, because no Europeans anymore till 50 years or so. You know, there are scenarios next year. And the other subject which always comes about is reconciliation of work and family, having it all. This is also very liked among feminist discussion, how we can combine it. We want to have both. In which troubles women come. I always say what we do have today is the exhausted generation. Yeah, when they have it all, they are also completely exhausted. So what I have, it's more a plaidoyer on seeing motherhood as an economic and political issue and not just an individual one. So my intention was to see it on many levels. And my starting point was when I started to write about motherhood, I got a mother myself. And I thought, that can't be. I was so shocked that also when you are in a partnership or when you're single, you are left more or less alone. 90%, and I know the numbers very well, we have about 10% fathers who are really engaged. The other ones, 90% are the mothers who are really responsible. Okay, so what is my thesis? I tried really to develop a kind of theory of what is it, how mothers live today in. I call it the patriarchal motherhood. I will speak about patriarchy because it's one of the words we don't use anymore. It's a result of a radical institutional and technological transformation towards an artificial and normative creation. So it's an ideological creation. We can see this French Enlightenment, for example. I don't speak too much about history because it would go too far. But it's this idea of what is a good mother and what has a mother, this normative of mother on the ideological side, and also on the technological side, like we have heard yesterday, all these reproductive technologies try really to replace what motherhood means, or to diversify it. My approach is also multidisciplinary, which political scientists don't like at all. You know, this we have this. I don't know if you have this in Canada too, but I suppose yes. This very disciplinary thing, you know, you go either in political science or there, so I'm always shifting around. And I worked a lot with sociologists and demographers, and always also with psychologists and family studies in the European context. So I tried to see it really individual level, societal level, and political level to get the whole picture. Where I'm coming from is the interdisciplinary paradigm of the critical theory of patriarchy, which was developed at the University of Innsbruck. That's my home university. And I will explain now what I mean by patriarchy. Okay, we have all the definitions. In the 90s, it was still en vogue to say patriarchy. To see feminists or to see the women's issue in a systematic way and in a systemic way. Now, gender theories have gone towards more and more an individualistic theory, and all is about identity. What is a woman, or can we speak about woman? Can we speak only about gender? Is it a social construct? Or can we still speak about biology? Actually, when gender came along, because Lerner Balbi, they analyzed it still from a systematic approach. It's a system of dominance which comprises all structures and institutions. I have heard this here too, that women speak about patriarchy in political science or gender theory or sociology. You don't hear it anymore. What we do have also the problem when we speak about motherhood, the accusation of essentialism. I mean, I'm sure you know about it. What is a mother really? Is it an instinct? Is it a social construction? Is it still biological? Or what is motherhood and why do you have to speak about it? Also, the feminist theory has really a problem with the mother. Like Simone de Beauvoir, she started to say it's the mother trap. As soon as you get a mother, you are out. You are out of society. You are at the fringe of society. Now, Claudia von Werlhoff, she, this is the definition I use for patriarchy is, she says it's negation of matrilinearity. I will explain this later. She says the natural order of a woman, mother to daughter, this matrilinearity is reversed by implying a father. You know, in Roman history you can see this very well, pater familias. The man got like the head of the whole family, turning completely around the whole logic, because as we know, fatherhood is never secure. The mother, even Romans knew that. Mater semper terta est means the mother is always sure, but nobody knows exactly who's the father. So it was always an artificial construct, but it defined our society. Names, for example, genealogies. Patriarchy declares itself as societal origin. They say we were first. So the father was first, not the mother. Rules and principles are turned around. War is held to be good. This is very symptomatic for patriarchy. This is what is going on in all these war discussions. War has become a normal answer instead of peace. There is the peace movement today, tomorrow in Canada active. I find this very interesting, really. Homicide of mothers and women, we know this is still ongoing. I speak about violence against women, and it's a problem which we still have. It's not only on rape in war or discrimination of women in other cultures. No, here in Western societies, rape and domestic violence is still a problem. And divide et impera means divide them and rule. By example, mothers against non-mothers. We had this subject too, that this pressure of this question of are you a mother, or why do you speak about motherhood? Or each woman is faced with this question at a certain time in her life. Are you a mother? Why not? Or this need to defend yourself. And male inventions as the only true creation. So this is coming really from the Greece idea of Platon, who says we have to invent motherhood completely new. And he invented in the state, in Politeia, an own idea how in the reproductive sphere women should behave, or mothers should behave. So really mothers as reproductive source. But men are the real creators. What are the characteristics of a patriarchal motherhood? I mean, I don't have so much time, but this is what mothers face today. Motherhood is an institution. Motherhood is, what do I mean by that? The state is counting on work which is unpaid and institutionalized, more or less, as mother. It's never mentioned, it's out of the national gross product. As we will see also when we talk about economy, it's just an institutionalized job in a way, but not a job and not paid, not valued. Individualizing of motherhood, this is a problem Western societies, all mothers face, that as soon as she gives birth, for example, the anti-abortion politics is all the time against abortion, but afterwards, as soon as she has the child, she is left alone with the child, more or less. It depends on her surrounding, on her network, social network, and so on, how good she can manage it. Unbalanced distribution of householding and childrearing, this is each statistics shows it again and again. Europe and America is the same. What has changed is the intention of women to participate more in childrearing, for example, but the acts, when you count, there are, for example, time statistics, time use statistics, and when you see that, they spend just less time with the children and more in work, and altogether, even if you count and collect the time women work, unpaid and paid, they work more than men. And we know naturally also that their income is much lower. So they work more, but the income is lower. Marginalization of single mothers, America, this discussion on single mothers goes always along with welfare, being dependent on the state, blaming the victim, blaming a certain kind of class, certain races naturally also, and using the state system to have a good life. Then we have, especially in this German area, like in Italy, the mama, you have this mother image of, it comes from National Socialism actually, and it means mother has to be responsible for a child the first 3 years, for example. It's like an ideology. You have to be 3 years at home. We have parental leave, you can stay up to 3 years at home. But it's punished as soon as you don't follow these rules. For example, a woman who would work immediately after, like it's in the United States, they have to go back because there is no paternity leave. They would accuse them, oh, you don't mind, you don't care for your child. Sanctions against bad mothers. To be accused to be a bad mother is so easy. But on the other hand, we don't have a bad father. That doesn't exist. Okay, gender gap in income. I said motherhood naturally is a part of that problem, why she earns less. Ambiguous fatherhood. I turned a lot. I did also studies on fatherhood because I thought, where are they? And you find a strange phenomenon. You find the fatherhood movement. I don't know if you know about them. They're very radicalized. One want to have custody for their children and blame the mothers. They keep them away. Okay, there is one part of the father movement like this, and then there is another one which really tries to accept and use feminist terms and feminist theory and being a present father. But I always say the new fathers, the so-called new fathers, they're about 10%. And my theory is that it has not very changed from the picture 30, 40 years ago. There were always fathers who cared, and there were always fathers who didn't care. So this is rather static. There is no paternal identity like a maternal identity. And this is, we had this subject yesterday, this is on reproductive technology, what is happening. Mothers get split up in forms like the genetic mother who provides the egg, surrogate mothers who gestates the fetus, and the social mother who raises the child. And there are many other definitions now about what a mother really means. It is on defining motherhood, in fact. You know, by these technologies, everything gets questionable. Okay, short mother in psychology. I've seen you have an own, Andrea has published an own book on mothers in psychoanalysis. Going back to Sigmund Freud, from Vienna, by the way, when you say the Oedipal triangle, father, mother, child, he is really, in fact, putting the theory of the nuclear family. Yeah, he made this triangle as if it's a natural thing to be. And especially, it's the necessity at a certain age that sons detach from their mothers, and not only detach from them, but hostily detach. It's called also the matricide. Also, Ziggy Jung speaks about this. It's matricide. You have to kill her to turn to your father, and the father is representative of the real world, and that's where you have to go to. Picture of terrifying omnipotent mother. We see this in psychology. Mother is the source of adult pain. I always say in each couch where you are in a psychoanalysis, the mother is lying on the couch too. Because sure, there was something wrong with her, and that's why you're pain today. And then this long tradition of mother blaming for anything what goes wrong, daughter's eating disorder, drug abuse, failed school career, criminality. I mean, this is also where when they see troubled children in school or drug abusers, they would always say, oh yeah, it comes from a family, the mother, and so on and so on. So this blaming on her, who is the only one, and who can be blamed? Her, because she's usually the only one who is really around. Okay, talking about the economic background, we said that number of births is important for the state, for the economy, because the more people, the stronger the economy. That's why, for example, France has a strong population policy and always had. Reproductive work is free. That's the basis of the economy, but it is not paid.
3 minutes.
Ongoing gender segregated labor market. We have this housewifeization, which means women do have most time like assisted work, assistants, secretaries, and so on. European welfare state is also declining on the background of globalization, so everything what was a state gets more and more privatized. Education, transportation, healthcare, housing is still responsibility of the state. For example, we don't have any fees in Austria for studying at the university, but they try to change this now. Also the character of work, because of the decline of job market, deregulation is really getting different, and now we have really to point out dependency. Are you dependent from whom? From the house, from your husband, or from work, from this economic market? So we have to raise this question new. I call this the modern a mother trap. Where are mothers today? Either they're dependent housewives. Also, housewife is nice to be, and some would like to do that, but preposition is you have to have a husband all your life, if possible. Or part-time work, very common in Europe, not so common here, but you cannot make really a living out of part-time work. And then, or if you do the triple burden, motherhood, household, full-time employment, which many women do, it goes really also on the back of that's what I said, the exhausted generation. They want to have it all, usually in an academic background or in a even privileged background, because the average woman is not in a privileged position in the labor market. And yeah, politics and motherhood, I want to say just social politics are gender because they are always, all your income, everything is based on how high your income is. So unemployment, retirement, and so on is always based on how long and how many hours and how many years you have worked. So you always pay a price. If you stay at home, you will get less retirement at the end. And also what is typical, the surrogate for being a mother of the welfare state, that's the role of welfare state in a way, caring for its citizen, but always with accusations of abuse. We do have this too in Europe, the single mothers who use the welfare. This is a similar discussion. And yeah, and this is also this reconciliation of job and family. This suggests you have choices. When you have choices, you can select between these choices. Many women do not have many choices. There is no partner around, there is no family around. So, okay, I have to come soon to an end. I still, that's an important thing, matrilineal motherhood. I thought, okay, I know Americans are much more positive than Europeans. Europeans are always seeing where's the point, where's the problem. And I thought, okay, is there any vision of something else? And when you look out, there are matrilineal living cultures till today. They are in Asia, they are also in the Americas, and not in Europe and Africa. And they understand motherhood completely different. It's a collective caring principles shared among sisters, mothers. They live in matrilinearity. Family means maternal line. Family doesn't mean marriage. Marriage is separated from matrilineal family. They live most time in vicinity. Erotic relationship, marriage is personal. So even when they are married, has not the same status like our marriage. This is separate from the safe upbringing of children within a matrilineal family. And the mother's brother is the social father, not the partner, which guarantees that there are no dramas around divorced parents and divorced children. Okay, that's now my conclusion. Individual freedom, everybody speaks about freedom for women, does not include mothers. That's why naturally in leading positions you see a lot of women without children because the price is high to pay. Matrilinearity was replaced by patrilinearity. Gender bias is an inherent part of political and economic paradigm. And the abolishing of mother is now also a technical project. And I want to add now, as a last positive remark, we have other visions. There are other models out there, how to live motherhood. We don't need to stick with this Western patriarchal model. We can learn from other living societies. Thank you.